Protesters hit the streets of Ferguson, Missouri and across the country after a grand jury decided that Officer Darren Wilson will not be charged in the death of Michael Brown. Violence on the streets of Ferguson followed after the decision of the grand jury. Police took control of the streets as protesters were seen vandalizing cars. Police fired tear gas to try and move the crowds. And across the country, angry protesters marched onto the freeway in Los Angeles, blocking traffic. Meanwhile, in D.C., hundreds marched to the White House in a peaceful protest. Now, in order to prevent another night of violence, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon has ordered more National Guards to the area. The protests in Ferguson are reviving the conversation on police accountability, specifically body cameras for officers. Cronkite News reporter Mackenzie Scott has thoughts from some leaders in Arizona law enforcement on this issue. Mackenzie?
What Michael Brown's family is asking for right now is change. And by requiring police officers to wear body cameras, they believe that change will come.
We are under the microscope today more than ever.
Increased scrutiny since the shooting of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. Michael Brown's family is now asking for law enforcement across the country to wear body cameras. And in Arizona, police officers are responding.
Are you wearing a camera? We are being second-guessed, we're being evaluated, we're being criticized, we're being scrutinized.
Arizona is a leader when it comes to law enforcement wearing body cameras. Cities in Arizona are already requiring their police officers to wear body cameras. Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery says transparency helps give the community a better understanding of what police do.
I think at the end of the day, obviously the more that people are able to see, the more they're able to understand about the interactions between a police officer and a suspect.
But with that, Montgomery also thinks the technical challenges need to be addressed.
All that video, you've got to have a place to store it. Then you also have to have the means to be able to review it in order to provide it to defense teams and be able to continue to store that information as well for use in ongoing prosecutions. Details
that still need to be worked out to make the technology deliver that level of transparency. Taser is one company that produces body cameras and is actually based right in Scottsdale. Live in downtown Phoenix, Mackenzie Scott, Cronkite News.
Now, Cronkite News is offering a few platforms for all Arizonans to sound off on the fallout from the Ferguson decision. Our Public Insight Network Bureau is tracking the reaction and asking for your opinions. Here are PIN correspondents Ihan Young and Dom DeFurio.
You may have seen some of the rioting, some of the destruction, some of the aftermath of the events in Ferguson last night. Ihan, you were down in Tempe. Tell me a little bit about what you saw.
That's right, Dom. I was out at Tempe Beach Park, and probably about an hour after the announcement was made, protesters started gathering. It was pretty small at first, probably about 10 people, and they were protesting in silence. But it quickly grew to about 60 people, and it got a little more intense. As they were marching across the park, there was a verbal argument between the group. One group wanted to be more peaceful, whilst the other group wanted to see some more violence that night, according to them. So the group splintered off to two groups. One went peacefully up north across the bridge, whereas the other group went towards the police department down in Tempe, and they were just shouting out more anti-police sentiments.
When organizing like this in the communities here in Arizona, that has prompted us to go to our viewers and ask you, what is your initial reaction to the events in Ferguson, and how do you see police interacting with members in your community? You look here to our query. You can come and you can give us some answers to some of these questions, tell us how you feel. You can find us on Facebook, and this query is going to be linked there. For the Public Insight Network Bureau, I'm Dominic DeFurio.
Now, the PIN Bureau has already received a number of responses. One participant says, justice is served by definition. No one who did not see all the evidence presented has any right to comment on whether the decision is a correct one. And another respondent says, while most people recognize the need to have police, there is a widespread sense that the police departments are out of control and lack appropriate discipline within the ranks. Now, if you would like, you can share your feedback at pinbureau.org.